Our topic is PHP Switch. PHP Switch Statement is basically used to perform different actions based on different conditions provided. PHP Switch Statement is used to select one of many blocks of code to be executed. Now we are going to discuss, or I am going to discuss about how we are going to construct a switch statement, and we will learn on the syntax of creating or in creating the switch statement. The syntax for switch starts with a switch followed by the expression, and then we go with the curly bracket followed by the case, and then the number, or it could be name of the case that we want to run, and then followed by a code that needs to be executed if this number or this case is equivalent to the number represented here or on the name represented here. So this will be the code to be executed if the number is equal to the case number or the name, followed by a break, which will end the code right away. But then again, we can create multiple cases in using this switch statement. So we can create another case, let's just say number 2, followed by, or it could be a name number 2, and then just the same, we are going to create code here that is of course equal, or the code will be executed if and only if the number will appear or the name will appear the same as the case provided here. Let's just say this is of course case number or number 2. Let's just set here number 2 and name 2. And of course, finally, the default one, or the so-called default, will run right after if this two number or the numbers that you have provided does not correspond to the case number. At this rate, we go with a default followed by the code to be executed, which is of course very important on the last part of a case. And then if expression, okay, is different from either number 1 or number 2. So it could be multiple numbers or multiple cases. Alright, so we start from making this one. So I'm going to make this one as a comment so that this will not affect my code. And I always start with an HTML. Okay, HTML followed by, let's say I'm going to make a title of switch statement, and then I'll start right away with an example for you to understand how to make use of a case. So start with PHP, and then I'm going to declare a variable this time, and what I'm going to set here is, says here var 10, okay, or this is a var will be equivalent to 10. And then what I'm going to do is that I have to declare first the switch, wherein this will take place, or it will run to the program and find out what is equal to this number 10, or if it's this number 10, or I mean the number here or the value of this var will be running throughout the switches to the number of cases that we are going to create here. So after this one, like I said, so we have here a bracket, and then followed by case number. Let's just say case 1 will be equivalent to this one, so I'm going to print out an echo. The value is 1, and then I can set this one to stop right away if we met the same value. So in this case, I'm going to set here case 1, case 2. Okay, so I'm going to set case 2, that's the same. I'm going to set an echo followed by the value is 2, and then just the same, I want to set here it I'm going to set it here to break, so meaning it will stop right away if and only if we happen to meet this criteria. Okay, so to make or to cut this thing short, I can set this one into 1. Okay, I'm going to set this one to 1. However, it is a must that you're going to set the default value for this one. Meaning to say, the code will be continuing, or it will stop if and only if, or the default will run if and only if these cases are not met, or say they are not equal to the value of this declared variable here on top. So at this rate, I'm going to add here default. So default are very important when it comes to the use of, if you want to make use of the case, default, followed by colon, then I'm going to set an echo. So we can set here none of the above, and then it should stop right away once this default thing or the default statement will be running, or after it runs. So I can set this one, and then I'm going to save it on my local DC. So file, save as, go to your proper drive. So you go with WAMP server if you are using WAMP. You can either use also SUMP, just look for the folder for SUMP, and then there's specific folder which is the htdocs. But in this case, I'm using the www. It's because I am using a WAMP server. So I'm going to save this one to switch statement or switch, and then save. Now we open our web browser. Look for the file. Let's say look localhost, and then you can set here switch.php. So if we're going to look at it, the file cannot be found. But then again, we have to look at our file, which is with. So I have a wrong spelling here. So instead, I'm going to change this one, or either I have to go right away with this one. So instead of switch, there is a missing letter C. So I can remove the letter C and then run. So this is how it works when it comes to making or in using a switch. So it will only find the value that you have declared on the variable, and then execute the variable that is corresponding to the number that you have inserted. So for us to understand more about this one, look at this example of the code here. Is that this is the one that I'm referring to, wherein to whatever you're going to set the variable here when it comes to a switch, what will happen here is that it will only search on that specific number on this area, or in this case, and then once this one here is equivalent to the case number here, it will execute the code underneath this case. So if this is a name, definitely it must have the same name that you will have on this case here. So instead of number, we can also substitute a name or a word, so in such a way that we can use a string in finding or using this switch. Okay, so this is how you're going to make use of a switch. Okay, so if you want to replace this one in the form of a string, make sure that you're going to declare the variable to become a string. For this example, I can set here star, and then make sure that when you substitute the case number, you should also put this in a string syntax, or a string variable. For this example, I have to set here, let's say I'm going to set here into string such as sun. You can also set here moon. And finally the last one, so I'm just going to copy this one, copy and then paste. So I can set here star. I can set here stars. We can set here moon, and I can set here sun. So if I save this one, Control S, or File, Save, I can go to my web browser and then refresh. So it's appearing to print out as stars. It is because, of course, it finds the word star on the switch area. So what happens if the star or this one does not appear on the cases? Let's just say I have here stars, and then save, and then refresh. So what will happen is, like I said, it will run on the default switch area, meaning that the case here does not appear to the ones that you are looking for. Okay, so this is how the switch statement works.